Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Shan Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling in on them over the next half hour. But first, the headlines that we're tracking right now. Arunachal Pradesh developments echo in both houses of parliament. Congress stages walkout in the Lok Sabha, forces adjournments in the Rajya Sabha. Aam Aadmi Party keeps up its attack against Arun Jaitley over his DTCA tenure. BJP leaders rally around the finance minister to rebut charges. Indian markets hold firm a day after US Federal Reserve raises interest rates. Sensex closes 309 points up. Nifty settles with a 93-point gain. And European Union leaders to meet for the final summit of the year. Migrant crisis and global terrorism to be the focus of the meeting. The top story this evening is about Arunachal Pradesh, and the latest reports from there say that 14 out of the 26 MLAs supporting Chief Minister Nabam Tuki have turned rebels. 34 of the 60 MLAs have already voted against the Tuki government and elected Kaliko Pul as their leader. The dissident MLAs, supported by BJP, are likely to meet the governor in the evening and apprise him of the situation. Calling the move unconstitutional, Tuki has written to the Prime Minister and the President. On Wednesday, the dissident MLAs, along with 11 BJP MLAs, held an assembly session in a community hall. This happened even as the government ordered a magistrate to keep the assembly locked, after which the governor told them to go ahead with the session in a community centre. And let's go across to Itanagar, from where we are joined by Mr. Gabriel D. Wangsu. He is a disqualified MLA from the Arunachal Pradesh Assembly. So, Mr. Wangsu, first let's understand what are your demands, and as far as your strategy is concerned, it seems that the Chief Minister really does not have the support that he claims as of now.
No, that's true, Mr. Ishan, because soon after the governor issued an order actually on 9th December actually. So accordingly, the session was held, two-day session. But what happened actually since yesterday, since the assembly gate was locked, despite our persistent plea that this needs to be opened, but since that was not opened and the administrations were not cooperating, and as well as the assembly officials, so there was no way out other than just holding this session in a community hall. Mm-hmm. And this morning we had again, just last night the community hall was vandalized, and that's why the deputy speaker again shifted that session to another place. And accordingly today, there was a composite floor test motion that was tabled by the BJP 11 BJP legislators, plus including besides two other independent MLAs. And then in that composite floor test, the House expressed no confidence in the Council of Ministers headed by Mr. Nabam Tuki, and at the same time expressed its confidence in the leadership of Mr. Kaliko Pul, MLA from Anjao. And accordingly, the House adopted this resolution, besides the other proceedings like reference to the passing away of former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
All right, Mr. Wangsu, the Congress party over here in the national capital held up both houses of parliament and is saying that the move is unconstitutional, and the way the governor has been acting is also in an unconstitutional manner. So how would you respond to that?
Well, since the governor, Mr. Jyoti Prasad Rajkhowa, under clause 1 of the Article 174 of the Constitution of India, had what we call issued this speaking order that the House need to be, the Assembly session need to be preponed to January 16th. But the thing is this, the problem is this, that it is as per the what to call order of this governor of Arunachal Pradesh, Mr. Rajkhowa, and as per that order only every procedure has been followed. And that's how that has been done. But the thing is when they talk about this step being unconstitutional, at the same time we also must know that it's the governor of Arunachal Pradesh who had given this speaking order, and then there is no way out other than what will following that order. But since the governor, the speaker against whom that impeachment motion was moved, he went on to disqualify 14 other MLAs.
Right. So, as far as those 14 MLAs are concerned, sir, are you still with the Congress party? Is there a communication between them, or are you going to join the BJP? What's the course of action?
No, we are here still as Congress MLAs. But the thing is this: when your own party tends to disqualify you, when your own party discriminates against you, then that definitely we have been pushed to the wall.
So you're sticking still to the Congress, not joining the BJP, but joining forces with the BJP. And so are we looking at a new party emerging? How are things going to proceed from here politically?
There are so many options open. We are going to look into those options actually and decide accordingly.
All right, Mr. Wangsu, we leave it over there. Thank you very much for coming in and helping us understand your side of the story as far as the crisis in Arunachal Pradesh is concerned. But the echoes were felt here in Delhi as well. Rajya Sabha proceedings were disrupted by opposition parties against the governor's role in Arunachal Pradesh. Amid many adjournments, the Congress moved a motion to discuss the governor's conduct. The decision of the chairman of the Rajya Sabha on allowing the motion is awaited.
The Congress on Thursday moved a motion under Rule 167 to discuss the role of Arunachal Pradesh governor.
You can give a notice.
Leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad pointed out that the proceedings of the State Assembly were conducted at makeshift venue.
विधान सभा से हटाकर कल मेन शिफ्ट जो अभी मैं बता रहा हूं विधान सभा के अंदर हो जाए, चाहे वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है डायरेक्शन या नहीं है, लेकिन विधानसभा के अंदर बाहर क्या कोई दूसरी विधानसभा भी बन सकती है किसी के प्राइवेट? ये सवाल है लोकतंत्र के लिए और सभी राजनीतिक दल जो यहां बैठे हैं.
20,000 in the country.
Other parties also joined the Congress in claiming that a constitutional crisis was being created in Arunachal Pradesh.
That procedure of what is happening is absolutely anti-democratic. That is something we have to give our opinion that we cannot accept it.
सरकार को जो है वो इस पे इधर-उधर की बात नहीं करना चाहिए. ऐसे मामलों में तत्काल आपको कार्रवाई करना चाहिए. सीधी बात ये है कि गवर्नर जो है वो हम सब जानते हैं. यानी एक आदमी चुनी हुई सरकार को और असेंबली बाहर बिठा ली जा रही है.
The government strongly reacted to opposition's allegations.
Special mention, KP Ramalingam.
Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi said the State Assembly proceedings can't be discussed in Rajya Sabha. He also slammed the Congress for disrupting proceedings.
Assemblies की एक्टिविटीज पर किसी भी रूप में हम यहाँ चर्चा नहीं कर सकते. आप असेंबली की एक्टिविटी में चर्चा करना चाह रहे हैं. आप गवर्नर को वहां पर धमका रहे हैं. आप चर्चा में संवैधानिक काम करने ही दे रहे हैं.
Deputy Chairman P.J. Kurian informed the House that Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari was examining the notice to discuss the governor's conduct. Rules 167 to 174 of the Rajya Sabha Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business provide that no discussion on matter of general public interest shall take place except on a motion made with the chairman's consent.
The substantive motion to discuss the conduct of the governor, and this is being examined by the Honorable Chairman, and the Chairman will take a decision whether it will be discussed or not. And after the decision of the Chairman comes, I will come. After comes, if Chairman allows, we can discuss it.
No, please go back to your places.
The Congress even alleged an attempt to topple the state government by the centre. Party members trooped into the well of the House, unsettling the proceedings in the House. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
The political crisis in Arunachal Pradesh figured in the Lok Sabha as well. Congress members staged a walkout after the government stated that the centre had no role to play in the state's affairs.
Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu told Lok Sabha on Thursday that the centre had no role in the developments in Arunachal Pradesh. He also insisted that the governor had acted within the confines of the constitution.
The governor, as per the constitution 174, 175, 181, has acted within his rights, and then From time to time, he has been informing the Honorable President of India. The legislators who are in the ruling party, they broke away from that party for whatever reasons known to them, and they gave a no-confidence motion against the Speaker. And then Governor has asked the Speaker to face the House and take this no-confidence motion. They did not immediately respond to that. So the Governor has summoned the Assembly and fixed the date of 16th yesterday for the no-confidence motion to be decided on the floor of the House.
Before this, when the House convened, Congress members staged protest, alleging that the centre was directing the events unfolding in the state. They charged the governor with trying to unseat a democratically elected government.
And Congress party has got two-thirds majority and two-thirds MLAs, 47 MLAs are belonging to Congress party. The central government is instigating governor to divide the party.
Governor cannot be the main name.
The new development, this is new. They have conducted the assembly outside the assembly hall. In a community hall, they have conducted. They have removed the speaker, and deputy speaker is presiding over. Such things outside the assembly. Where is the democracy? Democracy, they are killing.
Expressing their displeasure, Congress members staged a walkout from the House. Congress rebel MLAs joined BJP MLAs in bringing a no-confidence motion in the state, forcing a constitutional crisis in the state. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Reacting to the Aam Aadmi Party's allegations, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today rejected outright the charges of financial misconduct in DDCA affairs while he was president for 13 years.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has rubbished claims made by the Aam Aadmi Party about corruption in the Delhi District Cricket Association, which he headed for 13 years till 2013. Jaitley in turn accuses AAP of shielding corrupt officials by using the DDCA issue.
The fact is that it was an officer under investigation, and it was only an officer's office which was searched. And because the Chief Minister sought to place himself in front of that officer in order to defend him, he has been caught in an embarrassing position.
DDCA too strongly came out in support of its former chief. The Delhi cricket body has called the charges baseless.
The inquiry was completed also in the tenure of the previous government, and as I said, whatever lapses were found, irregularities were found, they all have been taken care of.
Earlier in the day, the Aam Aadmi Party had escalated its attack on Arun Jaitley, accusing him of misappropriating funds from the DDCA. The party said that through CBI raids at the Delhi Secretariat earlier this week, files related to DDCA were reconstructed. They have found support from the Congress as well.
जब मुख्यमंत्री जी इस पर कमीशन ऑफ इंक्वायरी बिठाने बैठे तो उनके दफ्तर पर रेड कर दी गई और रेड कर DDCA की फाइलें की छानबीन करी गई, जिसमें तमाम तथ्य और आगे क्या कदम मुख्यमंत्री जी उठाना जाने वाले थे वो सब चीजें लिखी हुई।
हम तो इसके पक्ष में हैं कि इसकी पूरी जांच होना चाहिए और केजरीवाल जी को कमीशन बिठाना चाहिए। जेपीसी की जो मांग है कांग्रेस की वो बिल्कुल सही है और जेपीसी का अध्यक्ष जो है अगर बहुमत से के हिसाब से बनना चाहिए तो कीर्ति आजाद साहब को उसका अध्यक्ष बना देना चाहिए।
The entire issue surfaced after the CBI conducted raids at the Delhi Secretariat. The agency meanwhile continued questioning Principal Secretary Rajendra Kumar. Anu Devan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Time now for us to take a look at other national news stories nationwide. A third suspected Al-Qaeda operative has been arrested by the Delhi police from the Sambal district in Uttar Pradesh. Suspect Jafar Masood was arrested by the special cell on Wednesday night, making it the third arrest in 2 days. Earlier, 2 suspected Al-Qaeda operatives were arrested from New Delhi and Odisha. Both were remanded to 12-day police custody by the Delhi High Court today. In a setback to the BJP-led government in Jharkhand, Congress candidate Sukhdev Bhagat won the assembly by-poll from Lohar Daga seat. Bhagat defeated Neeru Shanti Bhagat of AJSU, an ally of the NDA. The by-poll was necessitated following disqualification of AJSU leader Kamal Kishore Bhagat after he was sentenced to jail for 5 years in an assault case. Sahitya Academy board members met today to decide the fate of protesting authors who returned their awards. The panel said that 35 of the 39 protesting authors have returned their award money through checks that have not been encashed. The Academy also announced this year's winners. Making a U-turn from his previous statement, RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat today said that reservations should continue in the country as long as there was social discrimination. Bhagwat said that the Sangh was not in favour of scrapping of the quota system. He had earlier called for a review of the reservation system, creating a controversy just before the Bihar elections. Time for us to take a quick break. On the other side, tensions flare up in the South China Sea as Australia refuses to give in to China's warnings. More on that on the other side.
US Fed cuts interest rates. How will it impact emerging markets? Can Indian stocks remain unaffected? Watch the big picture at 6:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Now, indicating that the American economy is on the right track, the US Federal Reserve hiked interest rates late Wednesday, nearly after a decade. Now, the hike, however, did not have the expected impact on markets worldwide. The Indian markets, in fact, closed higher in keeping with the policymakers' expectations that the country's economy is well cushioned.
The BSE Sensex and NSE Nifty extended gains for the fourth consecutive session on Thursday, despite the US Federal Reserve raising interest rates late Wednesday night. Sensex closed 309.4 points up at 25,803.78, while NSE Nifty settled 93.45 points up at 7,844. However, the markets not being affected by the rate hike has not come up entirely as a surprise. In recent times, policymakers have touted India's stronger position vis-a-vis other economies, saying the country was well cushioned due to its better economic fundamentals.
We're really well cushioned on the macroeconomic side. So inflation is coming down. Our fiscal deficit situation is very good. External situation is also robust. So I think that for all these reasons, I think the impact on India should be relatively minimal. Yeah.
The hike is the first in nearly a decade, 9 years to be precise, and it signals faith that the US economy has largely overcome the wounds of the 2007 to 2009 financial crisis. The decision brings to an end a lengthy debate about whether the economy was strong enough to withstand higher borrowing costs. The Fed has made it clear that this hike was a tentative beginning to a gradual tightening cycle.
It takes time for monetary policy actions to affect future economic outcomes. Were the FOMC to delay the start of policy normalization for too long, we would likely end up having to tighten policy relatively abruptly at some point to keep the economy from overheating and inflation from significantly overshooting our objective.
The rate hike is an immediate test of new financial tools as well as a likely reshuffling of the global capital as the reality of the rate hike sets in. The effect of the rate hike on long-term mortgage rates, consumer loans and other forms of credit will reveal itself slowly. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the US Congress doubled a special fee on the popular H-1B and L-1 visas, raising it up to $4,500 to fund a 9/11 Healthcare Act and biometric tracking system that will hit Indian IT companies. Prime Minister Modi on Wednesday raised this issue with US President Barack Obama. The US bill estimates that the special fee could generate $1 billion per year. Modi reportedly shared that the Indian IT industry's concerns on the proposed legislation when Obama called him to thank him for his leadership at the Paris Climate Change Summit. The US bill is reportedly drafted specifically to impact Indian companies alone. Now, European Union leaders are meeting for their final summit this year. The migrant crisis and global terrorism are expected to be the focus of their discussions. Leaders will also discuss the UK's likely exit from the EU. Ahead of the meeting, EU Commission Chief Jean-Claude Juncker said that they will reach a fair deal with Britain to keep it from leaving the bloc.
Two pressing global issues, migrant crisis and terrorism, are expected to be the top focus in the final European Union Summit 2015. Germany and other nations will discuss with Turkey ways and means to settle thousands of Syrian refugees straight from camps in Turkey. Earlier on Tuesday, the EU presented new border and coast guard plans to manage external borders and protect the passport-free policy in order to stem massive migrant influx.
The aim of this new integrated border management architecture is to prevent uncontrollable situations and to strengthen our collective ability to deal with crisis situations where a section of the external border suddenly comes under strong pressure.
They will also discuss the UK referendum. This as British Prime Minister David Cameron proposed a number of reforms ahead of the vote on UK's EU membership. They will also discuss the economic and monetary union as leaders discuss fresh proposals from EU chiefs. Ahead of the summit, EU Commission Chief Jean-Claude Juncker said they will reach a fair deal to avoid Brexit, Britain leaving the EU bloc. British Prime Minister David Cameron also faces an uphill task to secure agreement on curbing welfare payments to EU migrants.
This fair deal with Britain has to be a fair deal for the other 27 too, so we are open-minded. We are engaging in this dialogue, which will be a negotiation with Britain in an open-minded way. I don't want the British to leave, and I don't want to blame the British.
2015 has been a tumultuous year for the European nations, with an overwhelming number of migrants from war-torn Middle Eastern countries taking refuge in Europe. Now they are struggling to maintain unity at the meeting. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The tensions flared up over the South China Sea today. Australia responded angrily to Beijing's warnings over flying its aircraft over the disputed islands, saying Canberra will not bow to Chinese pressure. However, China says that certain countries are looking for excuses to meddle in the region, which is otherwise stable. A US commander is warning of a possible arms race in the region. Here's more.
The South China Sea, back again at the center of the territorial spat between China and its regional neighbors and other countries. Australia says it will not halt surveillance flights over disputed islands in the sea. This comes in the backdrop of a Royal Australian Air Force surveillance plane flying over the sea on Tuesday. It prompted China to warn other nations against bringing up troubles in the region.
Maritime surveillance and air surveillance are very important to the job that the ADF does in maintaining regional stability and security. We'll continue to do that, and we do that in accordance with the international laws of the sea, freedom of overflight, freedom of navigation, and we always operate in a very constructive way in the region.
Earlier, a senior American naval commander implicitly accused China of creating so-called military zones close to its artificial islands. He said such actions were eroding the security of one of the world's busiest waterways, warning that a possible arms race could engulf the region. However, China said other countries wanted to meddle in the affairs of South China Sea.
中方坚持同直接当事国通过谈判协商解决有关争议的决心坚定不移。中国和东盟一直致力于维护南海地区的和平稳定。
China claims most of the South China Sea, through which more than $5 trillion of world trade ships every year. Many other countries, including Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, the Philippines and Taiwan, also claim parts of the South China Sea. Beijing is building 7 man-made islands on reefs in the Spratly Islands, fanning regional tensions. The US is now likely to send military vessel to the South China Sea next year. In October, it drew angry rebukes from Beijing when a US-guided missile destroyer sailed close to one of its man-made islands. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time now for some sports news and Sports Beat. The Indian squad for the upcoming Australian tour will be picked in Delhi on Saturday. The tour will include 5 one-dayers and 3 T20 internationals. The matches will be played between January 12th and January 31st. Mahendra Singh Dhoni is likely to be retained as captain, although the visiting South African side beat India both in the one-day and T20 series under him in November. A FIFA court started hearings in cases of suspended FIFA president Sepp Blatter and his deputy Michel Platini on corruption charges. Blatter is under investigation over a 2 million Swiss franc payment that FIFA made to Platini in 2011. A verdict is likely to be given as early as next Monday. Andy Murray has confirmed that he will retain Amelie Mauresmo as coach in 2016. The British #1 enjoyed a successful year, winning 2 Masters events. He also reached the finals of the Australian Open and guided Great Britain to their first Davis Cup success since 1936. The Scot has also risen from 11th in the world rankings to a career high second under Mauresmo. Well, that's all from us. Goodbye.